and this is Postman, right? So we are going to use some APIs here. So you can see that. Do you want to allow? Okay, okay, I'll just say that right now it's allowed so that we can easily access APIs. Okay, so right now, if you don't understand anything, what you can do is you can watch my previous video on Postman, so you'll understand everything. Okay, so right now from here, first of all, I'll just close everything, close all tabs. Okay, now I'm just going to say that here only I'm going to create a collection, actually a folder, and I'll just name this folder as to do crud. Okay, to do crud. And guys, inside this we are going to create a new request, so add request, and I'm just going to say http. Actually, if you write localhost directly, you won't get a suggestion. Okay, so you have to just copy it from somewhere, or you can write http colon slash slash localhost. Okay, I have to just copy it from somewhere. Okay, so what you can do is simply go to your browser, and first of all, let's test the API. So if I type localhost 8000, and actually I haven't started this, so I have to start this from here, nodemon. So now you can see that it has started, and now if I just reload, so you can see API is working. If I want to look for which routes, this to do route, so you have to first of all use your to do routes inside index.js. How you can do is, first of all, you need to import to do routes. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll be importing all my routes here or anywhere you want. Suppose I'll just import my routes after the setup, complete setup. Okay, so I'll just say I'll be importing my routes here. Okay, so routes, so I'll just say const to do routes, and I would just use to do routes. Okay, wherever you have defined to do routes, you have to write the exact path. Okay, so I've defined it inside routes directly. We have to do routes file. That's what I have called. Now I want to use this, so I would simply say app dot use, and if I write this API slash to do, and after this, actually if I keep it simple, very simple, slash to do. Okay, slash to do. If I call slash to do, it would take me to do routes. Inside this, if I call slash test, it would actually give me this. Okay, so now if you don't trust me, what you can do is, here if you write slash to do, you won't get anything. But if you write slash to do slash test, so you would get API working for to do routes, because here in the to do routes you have already defined it for test. Okay, so if you want to write this completely, what you would do is, suppose if I just talk about the empty, that means just the slash to do, so it would actually again give me something. Okay, so if I don't write anything here, so you can see API working for to do, that means my API is working properly. Okay, so that's it. Now let's talk about the schema. First of all, schema is very important so that you can verify your data. Okay, you whatever data you would be writing in MongoDB, you have to verify it. That is, your schema would be containing what? Title, description, the time at which it was created, and things like that. So in MongoDB, a schema is a flexible and dynamic structure that defines how data is organized within a collection. So unlike traditional relational databases like MongoDB, it is actually a NoSQL database that does not require a rigid predefined schema. That means your schema can be there, or if it's not there, then that's totally fine. But it's always recommended to like provide a schema so that anyone who is watching your code knows the exact things which are available or which are required to pass into the fields like registration forms or things like that. So schema is always great to have. So let's talk about the schema. Okay, so we are going to create a schema. We'll say we have a constant named as mongoose. Okay, so we are again going to import mongoose, and we're just going to say const, and let's name it as to do schema. Okay, I'll just name it as to do schema, and actually let me just keep it small. Okay, so this is known as camel casing, by the way. So I'll just say new. You have to write it like this, so mongoose, and I'll just create an instance out of it. Now inside this, you just need to write the schema things. So suppose I want to keep the title. Okay, I want to keep the title of the to do, so I would simply say we are going to have a title. What else you are going to have? You are going to have a description. Okay, you are going to have, suppose, a description of the to do. What else you're going to have? You're going to have some field like status or completed. So if I write completed, I would write it like this. Okay, so suppose if you want to add more data like timestamps, okay, if you want to say that you want to get data like when it was created and when it was updated, that means if you want to get the time whenever you are saving into database, so you can actually say here itself or just pass timestamps as true. Okay, so now what you have to write inside this, so here you can write different properties, but for now I'm going to write a very basic thing, that is data type of this is actually what? String. That means title would be actually a string, right? And one more thing, is title required or not? Yes, title is important, so you would simply write required as true. That's it. Now similarly, what about the description? Again, description is there, but it's not actually required. So if you don't write the description, it would be empty. Okay, that means required not. If you don't provide the description, that's totally fine. But title is important. You must at least provide the title. Now if I talk about complete, so I know that by default it won't be completed. Whenever I create a task, it won't be completed, right? So first of all, its value type would be what? True or false. That means its value type would be boolean. Default value would be what? False, because initially your task won't be completed, so obviously it would be false. Okay, so this is a very basic overview how you can create a schema. Now we are going to say that I want to export this schema so that I can use it in to do routes. Okay, so for that what I can do is I can simply come back here, right? And here guys, I can just say module dot exports equals mongoose model, and then I would just name it something. I would just name it something. Suppose you name it to do. Then after that, you have to just write your name here. Okay, so I've just exported my schema. That's it. I've just exported my schema. Now if I come back here, I would just import it from to do schema. Okay, whatever is your file name, you have to write here. So I would just import whatever is exported from there. So I'm exporting to do keyword here. So I would just import it with any name. Okay, it's not compulsory to name it as to do, you can name it any, but what does it return? It's actually returning you your schema, okay, with the name as to do keyword. Okay, that's it. So now you can see that I've just imported it here, so you can, for playing it safe, you can just name it as to do, and to do is exported from here with the value of to do schema. That's it. That's it. Okay, so now we have the schema. Now very first operation is, suppose you want to perform some task like what? So you can actually say, suppose your first task is to get all the to-dos. Okay, so to get all the to-dos, I'm just going to say here itself, I'm just going to perform CRUD operation, or what else do it, what I'll do is I'll just say that this was just test API, right? So I'll just remove this or comment this out, and here itself guys, you can see at the end I'm exporting, so obviously index.js would be able to use it, so you don't need to do anything here, everything is fine here. Whatever now you're going to write is going to be inside to do routes, right? So our very first API is to get all the to dos, but before that you must have at least one to do posted there. So first, let's first of all talk about post API. Okay, so I'll just say app, sorry, actually it's router dot post. Now you want to post what? So if I talk about add to do, add to do, if I just call this add to do, that means I want to post it. Okay, so I would just say async, and then it would be having a request and response. Okay, two parameters are required. I'm just creating an asynchronous function, uh, arrow function. It's actually an arrow function. Now here guys, I would just say const, and I'm going to take some data. What data? So in your body, from your body, what you are going to provide? You are going to provide title, description. You're going to provide title and description from the body, right? So from front end, you're going to provide this data, title and description, and inside this, you know that title is important, description is not important. Okay, so it's actually description. Okay, I think the name is correct here, description. Fine. So you can see everything is fine. So from front end, you would be providing these things, and now you're going to save this to your database using this schema, right? So for that, what you can do is you can just say const to do equals new to do, and automatically it would be treated like this, and you would be having your title and description, right? So you can see that it's actually like this, so you can see that, yeah, that's totally fine. Now what you have to do is actually you need to use this. Okay, I have to check the path properly, and what I would do is I would simply right click here, and I actually need to import this. Okay, so I actually need to import this here. right? And now let's come back to do schema. I think everything is fine here, but I have to just double check what issues do I have here. Just a second.